All right, I'd like to call to order the Town of East Troy Planning Commission for the month of June. I'd like the record to show that all the commissioners are present. How we operate is we operate in a split meeting format. This is our informational meeting where we'll have the applicant come up, let us know what they're looking for. The commission will then ask any questions of the applicant. They will sit down, we'll have a short discussion amongst commissioners, then we'll open it up to the audience. Anybody would like to speak in favor of the proposal, anybody would like to speak against the proposal, and then if necessary, a short rebuttal from the applicant. We then adjourn for 2 weeks, come back in 2 weeks and make our decision. That being said, that's not by ordinance, so if it's something we feel we can act on tonight, we will do that. The first item on the agenda is to review and approve the commission minutes from May 5th. Anybody have any issues with the minutes from the 5th?
I move we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the CSM approval, parcel PA 132000001, Carl and Becky Wolf, owners, and Mike Greason, applicant. Please.
Mike Greason, 9208 East Shore Road, land surveyor for the Wolves. 3-lot CSM with the 4th lot and outlot. The current owners, Carl and Becky, are going to maintain outlot 1. They're going to transfer ownership of lot 1, 2, 3 to their kids. And right now, there's plans for one of the children to build lot 1. The other two, I think, they don't have any plans at the time. Pretty straightforward. We had a couple preliminary meetings with the county. Couple things, there's 50-foot minimum frontage required, so we have that for all the lots. 5 acre minimums for C2, we have that. It's been perked out, and that's been submitted to the county. Went to DOA, and I made their revisions that they requested, or they found some typos, had town legal in a couple spots of East Troy, that type of stuff. So next will be on the Village of East Troy extraterritorial meeting for the planning commission on July 14th, looks like, so. That's pretty much it.
Any questions of the applicant?
I've got a few, and I think this may come up in the extraterritorial review, but I'm curious, the 3 driveway accesses being right next to one another. Like the county won't review this, okay? The county's gonna review road access for a county road, but a town road is exclusively really under the town's purview. But it's a little unique because it's the infill development, but there's that subdivision road to the, I guess, to the north on that same side of the street, and then just to the south, there's like a frontage road. I'm curious, why the applicant chose this particular configuration where there's the 3, call it driveways or access.
There's an existing driveway. There's an existing driveway that kind of splits those 3 right now. So we'll probably create an easement for those 3 lots to use that driveway. So it'll be one access point. However, the county needs 50 feet of frontage for each lot. So you can't just do one big frontage and have an easement across this one. You have to have that frontage or once you create a lot. So
I actually have some experience with this, and this has come up previously with the Berkey property a couple months back. A 66-foot access would allow more than 2 lots.
because of town road standards. You have to make the town road standards on.
Which is a 16-foot gravel driveway, basically, is a town road standard.
I think it has built like a roadway, ditches and.
No.
Oh.
So I guess I have 2 concerns. It's just that, having 3 driveways next to each other in terms of, how that might affect traffic and safety. And then, but we might not, because you have an easement later, but that seems.
They have no plans yet, so, I mean, they never build, why create the easement, why? So, right now, we're just creating the required access points, and when they go to build it, because somebody do a building permit, you'd say, you know, we need to create easements, we don't want 3 driveways. So, but
Yep, fair.
to create the lot, we have to have at least 50 foot of frontage. So,
Okay, and then, so why do you need the 50 foot of frontage for outlot 1? Because there's this 92.93 feet.
now it's not a lot, it could be, it's still buildable. So it could become a lot at some point.
But would you technically need that 55 feet for outlot 1 with this other, if I'm reading this right, the 92.93 feet?
Well, there's a big billboard sign there. So, if you see it on the map, so you wouldn't get a driveway through there.
You have to remove the billboard?
Right.
Or is there an existing easement or? you
No,
know,
there's no existing easement, but there's just a big billboard there. And the reason why we did that was because they wanted, the reason why that is slivered like that is because they wanted to keep the billboard income with that lot.
Sure,
They
okay.
didn't want to put it on lot, because originally they had lot 1 going all the way to the freeway, but they didn't want it on lot 1, so.
Okay, because as it stands, you would not be able to access, you wouldn't be able to subdivide outlot 1 more than, say, 2 lots via that 55 foot access. Because 55 feet will only allow you to access 2 properties
Correct.
via a shared driveway.
Yep, correct.
So you are limited in a way, you know, to open up that lot for
Future
more development, you'd have to use that 92 foot.
Yeah,
Right.
from what I understand from families, they want to keep it all out so they can share use of all of it. And then they ride ATVs and motorcycles and stuff, they don't have any more kids or anything, they want to do anything else with it, so it's kind of the plan.
Okay.
So,
So maybe,
I'm guessing they'll draft it up so each lot has 33% interest in it at some point.
so I guess, so my concern would be with, not so much access, I was just curious on the background there, because with the 55 feet, you wouldn't be able to divide that lot more than once, maybe that's okay, that's what you plan to do. But really with the access to the roadway, if there are, this is calling for three independent driveways, and that's what the owners could eventually do, and that's really tight with the roads to immediately to the south and immediately to the north. I think if the extraterritorial review is coming later, the village may have an opinion.
I mean, the only way they could help that is, you know, they could squeeze lot 1, push it out further. I mean, what, I don't, there's really no way to not have those 3 driveways in a row.
Without the alternative would be a 66 foot.
I mean, they could feasibly make them wider, but would that make it, you know, better, more safe, you know?
I think if you don't have independent, technically you have independent entrances and exits, so there's a lot. My concern is if you're driving down the road and maybe you look, if depending on vegetation, what have you, maybe someone's coming in or out of one driveway and in or out of the next. And someone looks and sees one and doesn't realize these driveways are, it's pretty tight, you know, every 50 feet is pretty tight.
But it sounds like from a practical standpoint, they'll share a driveway.
If they ever build on 2 and 3, I'm guessing they would, so it would make total sense to do that. The other thing is, it's residential, so it's not like you talk about 2 cars per family, so the coming and going, I mean, the amount of times that probably happens at the same time, it's probably, you know, not saying it's never gonna happen, but probably not that often.
I think the county, it's kind of apples and oranges, but the county would take issue with this configuration on a county highway. And the state would take issue with this on a state highway. Those would, they would be rejected. You know, town roads a lot different.
It's like
Those
there's a
would be-
driveway permit.
Mhm, yeah. Those,
But that's not what you're doing.
No, and it's a town road, it's not a county road.
right, yeah.
But the
I'm just saying,
I agree with, from a safety standpoint, the town wouldn't do it, probably wouldn't do it either. Wouldn't approve them as driveways, which is why.
well, I don't think the town would have, once this, if this were to be approved as is, that the town really would be compelled to allow 3 driveways. The land has already been divided, and each property has access in this configuration. So that, I mean, that's the decision right now.
Yeah.
It's not a future decision.
But I mean, if the ordinance is 50 feet of frontage, I mean, he's got 50 feet of frontage. Whether, there's a, I mean, how else, if that's what they're saying, the minimum, you have to assume there's gonna be a driveway there. I don't disagree with you, 3 right in a row, is, not ideal.
Yeah, it's not typical.
But I don't know that there's any other way, I mean, other than making them a little bit wider and playing with the lot sizes. But does that, let's say, for example, they're 75 feet wide. Does that really change the fact that there's 3 driveways now within 225 feet versus 150 feet?
Still have the same amount of cars coming off of it.
Yeah.
I don't
think
disagree with
there's
that.
a potential concern, and I think maybe it comes up at the extraterritorial level, and offer it as, there are other alternative ways of accessing via, a shared driveway other than what's drawn here, just for the applicants. Given that this is coming under extraterritorial review, and it borders the village, right, that's my understanding, I think it would be best to, I think it's in the applicant's best interest, the town's best interest, to wait for that extraterritorial review before making a decision.
So you want to let the village make a decision for the town?
Not to make a decision, but to
That's what you're doing. Extraterritorial review is this extraterritorial review. You guys are approving agency. I don't want to let the village make a decision for the town. As a town resident, I have a problem with that.
the town is required you are required to get an extraterritorial
Yes.
approval.
Right.
That's not, the town, it doesn't.
But you're deferring to them.
No, that's not my saying.
You just said, let's wait for them to make a decision. Right?
So, if I might just jump in, I think what Ben's saying is, maybe in your best interest, if the town says, hey, those should be 60 feet, 70 feet, whatever. I don't know how much power they have with extraterritorial review.
I don't think they have that. Sure.
But I guess I'm kind of the opinion, this is what is drawn and is in front of us, Not that I'm saying we couldn't say, hey, might be, in your best interest, maybe tweak this, but, I mean, do you feel really strong about?
The applicant, Mr. Greason, is it?
Yep.
When is it scheduled for the extraterritorial?
14th July.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I just thought it was, I misheard, I thought it was June 14th. Customarily, typically, applicants seek an extraterritorial review prior to the town review. That's typical, because it is.
I've never done that. I've been doing this since 2005.
We've done several.
Well, I'm sure you can, but to me, this is town property. I mean, yes, the village has extraterritorial review, but I don't think we should defer to the village or have them make a decision first. So I don't even know if they have jurisdiction over that. I think if they have zoning, certain zoning requirements to check, but there's things that they can't, they don't have extraterritorial doesn't cover. So,
Well, they have jurisdiction over all land divisions within the extraterritorial.
yeah, but there's only certain things that extraterritorial review cover.
But if we're the government authority, why would we wait for?
No, I was just saying, might be that happens, but I missed for June 14th.
I mean, they may be open to make it wider, we can talk about it. I don't, necessarily have a problem with it, but we just did what's required by code, so.
Those were just my questions.
Understood. Again, my review is that's kind of the only access in and out to those other 3. So, kind of the only, if you don't like 50, make it, 75, like I said, 75. But that's kind of the requirement, 50. I don't know. I have a hard time telling them to, redraw it, make it wider.
Yeah.
And then there's still 3 driveways in a row, and.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that you do.
Okay.
I mean, can we encourage have a shared driveway? Because if it becomes a shared driveway in the future, then Ben's concerns is not, if there's only one driveway, that everybody shared, then I would assume your concerns would go away.
Yeah,
But
and this isn't, it's not a showstopper for me. I mean, I'm just asking the question. I was confused with the access, and the applicant clarified that 92 feet on one side and the 55 on the intention. And that, makes sense. I didn't understand what the intention.
Yeah, why not put that one over there, and no, we know, right?
Mhm.
And we did make the easement at code only for 2 lots per county code, so you still have 2 driveways.
And to Mr. Greason's point, how often are, all 3 people leaving at the same time, or, you know? Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Discussion on commissioners. My input is, it's already C2, they're making 3 C2 lots that are conforming, 5 acres. The remaining lot is C2, more than 5 acres, conforming. Seems to make sense to me.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
If anybody else has any.
That is consistent with the 2050 plan.
Right. Any other discussion amongst commissioners? I would open it up to the audience. Would anybody in the audience like to speak in favor of the proposal? Would anybody like to speak against the proposal? I think we got done this tonight. It seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Motion to approve the CSM certified survey map for parcel PA 132000001 as presented.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business amongst commissioners?
I am. So my term on the planning commission expired in May and was extended through this month. So after discussion with Town Chairman Jones, I expressed that he offered, he suggested that I might consider staying on as an alternate in the next term, which I declined. And then he mentioned that he might consider filling my slot myself and another applicant by the name of Ted Zess, former school board chairman. And I took great issue with that and expressed, I questioned the town chairman's judgment on this matter because I think that it's really important that this commission have 7 strong, independent, unbiased voices. I think we have that today. I took issue because Ted Zess is the employer of Commissioner Janer, and I think it's just unusual. It would be unusual to have an employee and an employer on the same commission, or an employee on the commission, an employer on the commission making recommendations to an employee on the town board. Chairman Jones took great offense to my questioning his judgment. I questioned it privately. I questioned it publicly here today, and it just, suggest to the community the attention to the appointments going forward, and really question the intention of the chairman, and look for potential conflicts of interest. I think we're all appointed here with the exception of Mr. Janer, who's elected. I think we best serve the community if we are all presenting unbiased, independent views. That's just my perspective. With that, I really appreciate, I didn't know any of you, and I think the first time I met all of you was my first planning commission meeting some 3.5 years ago. If Mr. Zess joins the planning commission, he won't be able to say the same. His employees sit to my right. I appreciate serving the community with you all. I wasn't not every decision is a unanimous one like tonight. I've been in the minority a few times. Have a lot of respect for all the, on the commission here, and been happy to serve with you.
Thank you. Any other discussion amongst commissioners?
Yeah, I'd like to speak, on the record, and I commend Ben for having the courage to speak his mind as it just did. I was not going to speak, but Ben inspired me. As everybody knows, I've been an alternate on the planning commission, alternate member, and I was hoping to have a slot as a permanent planning commission member, because I feel my background and experience and qualifications are well suited for the role. You know, I am a degreed civil engineer. I have 43 years of development and construction experience, and working with numerous municipalities on planning and zoning issues. And I found out today via email that I will not be considered as either an alternate or planning commission member. And very soon, not to disrespect anybody else on this commission, but I would have thought I had a lot to offer, and I'm anxious to serve the community. And unfortunately, I won't be able to in this particular instance.
Thank you. Any other business for the planning commission? Any other public comment? Then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.